What's going on, guys? So today I want to talk to you about if you're being a Melvin or not. So I know that sounds funny, but like if you're being a Melvin, if you're being an NPC, and immediately you're probably feeling a little bit defensive, right? And I totally get it. Like this video will provide a bit of accountability for you, and truthfully, there's moments that I've had to go through this myself and be like, yep, that's a habit that I need to cut out of my life so that I can be the best version and not an NPC. And if you don't know what an NPC is, well, you will now. So it's short for non-player character, which means basically that if you've ever played a video game, it's okay if you haven't. You'll get it anyways. So you're walking around the game as a main character, right? You can move, do whatever you want. And there's certain characters like the shopkeeper or the villager, the townie, whatever, right? Like you walk up to them and they always move in the same direction. They always do the same action when you talk to them. They always say the same 2 or 3 lines, right? And people have translated this into real life. Like you might have heard people talk about that online before. And it's kind of crazy to think about because it brings up a question like, how awake are you in your own life? Right? Like how many actions are you doing that were programmed into you growing up with society, parents, XYZ, versus how much of these things are actually good for you? Are you actually doing because you personally want to, not because you were told to go get a mortgage or go get student loans, student debt, go do this and that, right? Like how much are you doing because you really want to do it? Really think about that. And there's a lot of, I just touched on a few things there, right? Like the mortgage, the student debt. And I mean, of course, like do what you need to live the life that you really want to. That's the whole point of this video. But there's certain habits for sure that are, let's say, advertised as fun and like an okay thing to do in society, right? Like for a long time, smoking, whether it was weed or whether it was cigarettes, right? Like it was advertised in different ways of being like, oh no, it's okay. Like it reduces your anxiety. Oh, blah, 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 it does this and that. It's not actually bad for you. It's cool. It's also cool, right? And then, or like drinking, right? Like you'll run into a bunch of people who all they do is get off work and drink, or maybe they're a weekend warrior, right? So like that's all they do every weekend. Or they'll even try to guilt you into drinking with them because they feel insecure about it. I mean, that's the brutal truth, right? They'll say like, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, why aren't you drinking too, right? Like, and they'll start like maybe calling you names. They're like, oh, like that's weak, man. Like, what do you? It's okay to just have one on the weekend. Like, chill out, bro. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like, maybe you need to like take the edge off a little bit. Like, but that actually implies taking the edge off, right? That to have fun, they need the alcohol or the drug or whatever it is. And coming from my opinion, your highest self, like the highest quality version you could be, your best self, is the most healthy, right? Like your body is a temple, you treat it well, blah, blah, blah. Meaning that you don't do these things that destroy your body, right? Like smoking and drinking. Because like drinking like literally like shuts down parts of your brain, and it's one of the only things that travels through your body through the blood system, right? Which is like super dangerous. And I mean, there's so many ways that you could just be sleepwalking through life, right? I mean, a lot of people don't know that there's tons of processed foods that we're not supposed to be eating, or that plastic is bad for you, right? Like drinking water or anything from plastic, or for example, spending all your time watching the news, spending all your time watching Netflix after work, and you're not leveling your life up at all, spending all of your time on TikTok or Instagram, right? Like imagine the amount of time that you sunk into these things. No matter anything that I've talked about so far during the video, there's plenty more that I could go over, but I'm going to make this video relatively short. The amount of time that you sunk into an unproductive habit versus a productive habit, right? Because most people are consumers, not producers or creators, right? So it's no wonder when someone's stuck, right? I mean, if you look at their habits, they work, maybe they go to the gym, they eat, they drink, they watch Netflix, and that's about it, right? I mean, what kind of, if you want more for your life, right, then you might ask yourself, well, what kind of life is that? And truthfully, even myself, like, I'm a pretty simple guy, right? Like I just want good food, a nice, decent place to live, right? Good health, like be able to have a gym around, good relationships with people, like, friends, family, dating. Like, I want a high quality version of all this, which you find doesn't necessarily align with a lot of those habits, like all the social media consumption, or going out to the bar all the time, or drinking, or all these things, right? So, like, I just want you to think a little bit more critically about the habits that you're doing that might be causing you to just do the same thing. And that actually is a good note to end this on, because the NPC, the non-player character I talked about in a game, right? They were programmed to just jump the same way all the time, walk the same, they like pace there, they say the same 2 or 3 lines. And some people are like sleepwalking through their entire life like that, because school told them that, the government told them that, their parents told them to do this. Like how many people are doctors because their parents wanted them to do that, not because they actually wanted to do that? I'm gonna go ahead and guess a lot. So that's the whole point of this video, is I want you to think a bit more critically about your whole life, so you don't sleepwalk the whole way through. Like, oh, now I should get a mortgage, right? Now I should, go to school and get in debt, right? Now I should do this. Like they're sort of sapping, these ideas are sapping the creativity around what you could do with your life. If you really followed some of that inner creativity that you've always had since you were young, and maybe some of that inner child was suppressed up until now. And a lot of us have an idea of things that we really want to try, really want to do, and we suppress it, we keep it down, and then we just go do what someone else told us to do, right? And I think the end of this video was the best part, just because I was a little bit more in flow talking to you guys about this, just being real with you. But that's what I meant by, like, don't be an NPC, don't be a Melvin, right? Actually think about what you want for your life, what you want, not someone else, and become the best version of yourself. Attract high quality, And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, that'll lead you down a pretty good path. All right, guys, you got this.